Bad turns good. Some examples. These are all true examples. Nothing is invented. There was a village where was a thief, not a very horrible one. He went sometimes in a kitchen to steal things to eat, and he went out. One day he told me, Stefan, if you don't lock your apartment, I will go in to steal things. I said, this is very good. I know you like very much honey. I will put on the table a big pot of honey for you. Some days later he came and took really the pot of honey with him, and they did something and went out. Now something very surprising was happening. Some days later, there was another fridge in which was stored some yogurts and other foods. But there was no name on the food. He went there, and I had some yogurts also there. And he did take several yogurts, except my ones. Though I had the feeling he must be very sensitive. He must see things others do not see. He could see that these are my yogurts, and because there was a heart connection with him, he respected me and did not steal anything more from me. There is another example. A woman, when she was eating, was throwing around forks, knives. And when people with her went to drink the coffee, she could not drink it really. She was vomiting it. Whole the table was full of coffee, and she asked again for a coffee and again. So the people that took care of her were very fed up with her. One day, one of them came to me and said, Stefan, are you ready to take her to drink coffee? But she will drink 3, 4 coffee and make a horrible mess. I said, I like very much. Why not? Then we did meet. On the way to the place to drink a coffee, I stopped and said to her, less than 100 coffees, and we will not start to drink. She immediately understood me. She looked with very heartful eyes in my eyes and was full of gratefulness. Then we went there and she did start to drink a coffee, but all was going out on the table. Now an egoist would say, what a mess you do, I must clean it all, take a little bit care. But I was more an altruist. I wanted her happiness, not my one. And I said to her, it must be very sad for you that all coffee goes out again. It is a sad thing for you. Genzi asked for another coffee. Again, the same thing. I was cleaning it. I was not blaming her that I have to clean it. I was only interested in her well being. not in my well being. Then, after 3 days, she looked at me and said to me, Stefan, I only want to drink one coffee. Then we went there, and she did drink one coffee, all perfect. Then, for a moment, I went into the kitchen, opened the cupboard, and a lot of paper, plastic sacks was falling down on the ground. She immediately ran towards me, collect them, and did put them very nicely and correctly in the cupboard. Some days later, there was a wooden wall, and I did hang a paper of myself there. It was a public wall, and of course, the text was very heartful and full of compassion, even when nobody understood it. Then a man came. I did not see him, but it must be a man, as I feel, and it put the great paper over my things, and other things were fixed there on the wall. Then one day, this woman had an explosion of anger, and she went to the wall and took away all papers, except the papers I did hang there. She also must have a sense to see invisible things for others. She must have seen the love in the paper, the compassion in the paper I wrote. And this might be the reason why she behaved so strangely, throwing forks around, knives around, not drinking normally a coffee. Once a human being is accepted heartfully, all these things might disappear like a snowflake descending down in the season of a hot summertime. Later on, we went into a shop, and on the way there, I saw a bumblebee. And I love very much bumblebees. I said it to her. Do you have time to see the bumblebee I love so much? She was totally innocent, heartfully. She was looking at the bumblebee, at my friend. And this is the key. One must touch the heart of somebody else declared as mad, as all kinds of bad things. And then the person can feel her own heart, a depth of her heart she never was allowed to feel. And in this light of heartfulness, many mad things dissolve into nothingness. There was also my father. They told he is horrible. He walks 20 meters before us, and he has, I don't know, Alzheimer, I don't know these names. He cannot remember anything one says to him. Then I went to visit him. He went 20 meters before me. Then I said to him, Papu, called him Papu. I love you. There is no need to walk 20 meters before me. So he was waiting, and we walked together. Then we went into a restaurant. He did like it to drink some red wine. He offered me also a glass. And I don't know in English, a Nusskipfel. He knew it as I liked this, so he offered me one. And I asked him about his youth something, and he told me the same stories. 20, 30 years before, he did also tell me there was no forgettingness. There was no lack in mind. The only lack is not to love him. Everybody likes to be welcome. This is all I have to say and nothing else.